Newfoundland, or known as the Rock to local residents, is the easternmost province in Canada, offering a plethora of things to do, like hiking, sightseeing, has tasty food, and the nicest people. We don't typically make videos like this, but we wanted to create a little road trip guide for you if you have Newfoundland as a road trip destination on your bucket list. So if you're road tripping to Newfoundland, you're most likely coming via ferry out of Nova Scotia, which has 2 route options. The shorter version of the 2 takes roughly 7 hours and heads to the west side of the island to Port-aux-Basques, or you can go to the eastern side of the island to Argentia, which takes about 16 hours. In a perfect world, you would enter Newfoundland from one side and then come back from the other port, but this is difficult to plan because those 16-hour ferry rides you have to book way in advance or the cabins sell out, and traveling with a baby on a 16-hour ferry without our own place to sleep would be pretty difficult. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to say you're entering Newfoundland on the eastern side in Argentia, making your way westbound to Port-aux-Basques. Now, there's so much to do in Newfoundland, and 15 days is simply not enough time to see everything, so you have to pick and choose what you want to do. I'm going to share with you our route, however you can add or simply remove whatever you want, or if you want to cram in as much as possible and go balls to the wall, you can do that. Starting from Argentia, our first major destination is Newfoundland's largest city, St. John's, which is also Canada's easternmost city. If you're an early riser like us, then the first thing you want to do is head to Cape Spears, North America's easternlymost point. Okay, technically Greenland is part of North America, so it's not the easternlymost point of the continent. Anyway, it's still pretty cool because you could be the first people to see the sunrise in Canada and the US. It also has amazing views, and if you are a big coffee drinker, then you don't have to worry because there's a cafe at the top of the hill and it opens relatively early, so you can see the sunrise and still get your coffee fix in. After the sunrise, we headed into the city for breakfast. We visited the Bagel Cafe to try a Tablelands, which is basically a traditional dish from Newfoundland, most usually thought of as a pancake like bread dough served with molasses, but you can pretty much get whatever you want on it. Then we made our way to Water Street to check out the different pubs and shops along the way. If you're looking for some of the best fish and chips in St. John's, then head to the Duke of Duckworth. You won't be disappointed. If you aren't traveling with a baby and have a taste for beer and live music, then make your way over to George Street, which starts to come to life after around 5 p.m. If you're looking for a touristy thing to do, you can get screeched in at Trapper John's, but unfortunately for us, you can't bring a baby into the bar, so we did not get a chance to try it. You can finish the day at Signal Hill, which is a great spot to check out the sunset, learn about Canadian history, and just admire amazing views of the city. If you're like us and want to stay connected while you're on the road to look things up or just stay connected with friends and family, consider using Holafly's international eSIMs, who is the sponsor of today's video. We use Holafly every time we travel internationally because of their ease of use and their unlimited data plans at a ton of different destinations. Before using Holafly, we had to deal with expensive data roaming fees, try to find local SIM cards, which could be a pain in the butt, especially if there's language barriers, or derail our itinerary or our day by going into a coffee shop or somewhere with public Wi-Fi to stay connected and let our family know that we're safe, or to look up wherever we're going. Now with Holafly, we can simply purchase our data plans and eSIMs before we go to our destination, so we could do it all online and then get an email to our phone and have it installed and ready to go once we get to our destination. If you're traveling to multiple countries on your trip, they have regional based plans like Europe or North America, which also has unlimited data as well, which is super convenient and removes a ton of the complexities when you're crossing borders. And you don't have to take my word for it because Holafly has over 26,000 reviews on Trustpilot with a 4.6 out of 5 rating. So for your international trip, whether it be a road trip or a Euro trip, check out Holafly for unlimited data plans, and especially check out their regional based plans if you're traveling to multiple countries. And you could use our promo code Mathers on the Map to get 5% off your order and save you a little bit of money. Again, thank you so much Holafly for being a continued sponsor of our channel. Okay, after the day in St. John's, you have to visit the neighborhood of Quidi Vidi. Only a few minutes drive away, Quidi Vidi is nestled along the coastline and has a really cool brewery famous for their iceberg beer. Beer actually brewed with iceberg water. They also have amazing fish and chips, so pair the beer with the chips and enjoy the views along the water. From Quidi Vidi, we start our journey back west with our first stop at Bay Roberts to hike the Heritage Trail. This was one of our favorite hikes in Newfoundland because it has fresh berries right on the trail, it's relatively easy, and it has incredible views. Fortunately, we scored with the weather, so that made it extra special. Not too far from Bay Roberts is the infamous town of Dildo.
We finally made it to Dildo.
And there's basically three things to do here.
Visit the Dildo Hollywood sign, which is right behind me. Visit the Dildo Brewery and Museum.
And visit Nana and Pop's souvenir shop, which hits home to me because my grandparents are named Nana and Pop. A few years ago, Jimmy Kimmel donated the Dildo sign, which resembles the Hollywood sign, and it's a fun little village to check out. Grab a beer and a bite to eat at Dildo Brewing Company. The onion rings are amazing. Next, we continue westbound to see some birds. Yep, you heard that right. Birds. Oh my God, I can see them from here. Now, we're not bird watchers by any means, but we definitely like to see puffins, which brings us to the town of Elliston. Here in Elliston is the closest place to see puffins in North America by land, and it doesn't disappoint. We saw hundreds of them at their nesting site and floating in the water after they got a meal. Continuing up the peninsula, not too far from Elliston, is Cable John Cove, which has incredible landscape featuring the Chimney, a famous sea stack. There's also Dungeon Provincial Park and a ton of beautiful wild camping around here, so if you can add a couple more days, then add this area to your list. But if not, let's continue westbound to a town called Twillingate. Twillingate is known for icebergs because it sits right along Newfoundland's Iceberg Alley, which is the northern coastline, receiving a ton of icebergs floating down from Greenland as the waters start to warm. It's also a very popular spot for whale watching, so if you're lucky, you can see whales and icebergs in the same day, but unfortunately, this season for icebergs is in the late spring, early summer, and we were there towards the end of the summer, so we missed it, but we were still able to enjoy the town, tasting some fresh beer, having iceberg wine, and tasting amazing food. We also went to the northern tip of the peninsula to see the Long Point Lighthouse and take in the amazing views up there, and we also found one of our favorite campsites in all of Newfoundland. After Twillingate, we made a strong push westbound to one of the best things to do on the western side of the island. Visit Gros Morne National Park. Here in Gros Morne National Park, you can take a boat tour on the western Brook Pond, admiring the beauty of the Long Range Mountains. This tour is absolutely incredible and competes with the fjords in Norway and Iceland. It also has two other very popular hikes, which include the Green Gardens, a 9-kilometer out and back hike to one amazing coastline that reminds us of Hawaii, and Tablelands, one of the few places on the planet where you can stand on the Earth's mantle. All right, we are officially on the Earth's mantle. We also found this amazing campsite right outside the park, which was also one of our favorite camp spots here. Unfortunately, our time in Newfoundland was closing in on us, and we didn't have enough time to go to the tip of the northern peninsula to the village of Norstead to see how the Vikings used to live firsthand 1,000 years ago. Instead, we continued down to Port aux Basques to catch the ferry back to Nova Scotia and spent our last night right along the water here admiring the beautiful views. Newfoundland was an amazing place to overland in our van and one of the best road trip destinations. It really competes with Baja, to be honest with you. If you want to learn exactly where we slept at night or all of the places that we visited, we have a Google map that we shared on our Patreon, as well as a detailed itinerary giving you all of the details about everything that we have in this video, as well as our Newfoundland series on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions about Newfoundland and what it's like, drop a comment below. We will definitely be back to do more exploring there because, like I said, it's one of our top destinations and it was just incredible. To all of the local residents who were so kind to us, we just want to say thank you and we can't wait to return.